Hello, welcome to this Vapor tutorial. Today is all about Fluent and object relational mapping frameworks, and we're going to check how we're going to map the data into real entities. We're going to see what is Fluent, how to add it to a new project and to an existing project, of course, and we're going to check what drivers we can use to configure Fluent. Well, an ORM or object relational mapping, as you might know already, or you might guess, it's something that you would map your data into some kind of entities that make sense into your application. Fluent is a solution for Vapor and is a framework that leverages the language's strong type system to offer a user-friendly database interface. At its core, Fluent revolves around defining model types that represent database structures. These models allow you to perform the operations you want, such as create, read, update, and delete, without using select or raw crazy queries like SQL. And the definition of ORM is something like a programming technique that enables developers to interact with a relational database using object-oriented principles. So in the end, it maps database tables to objects in programming languages, allowing data manipulation through class methods and properties. So this abstraction simplifies database operations, improves code maintainability, and reduces the need of raw SQL queries. Syntax is basically you don't write by strings your queries, you just use OOP principles. And with this approach, with Fluent, we're going to simplify the operations, and we're going to have in the end a type-safe approach with a Swift native query builder. There are two ways to use Fluent, and of course, two ways to use any outside frameworks or frameworks inside a project. One is to add it to an existing project, and the other one is with a new project. A new project is fairly easy because when you install the Vapor toolbox and create your new project, you're going to be asked by that toolbox if you want to add Fluent to your new application. And Vapor does that for us. And then you'll have to configure inside this file, configure.swift, to set up your database migrations and your models, which we're going to check together what they are. Or the second way is to add Fluent to an existing project. So you created your project, you wrote something there, but you forgot to add Fluent, or passing time, now you require to add some kind of a data persistence to your entities, and it's time to add Fluent to your existing project. It's simple to add. It's a package, an SPM. So you include in your package.swift file this dependency, and then you have to import the framework inside of the place where you want to use the methods of the database. And don't forget, of course, to register Fluent in your configure.swift and define your database connections. Drivers. All right. Drivers are things that are already integrated into Vapor by Fluent and offer some solutions to your SQL database, like standards for your database. As far as I know, there are 4 supported types of driver. You have Postgres, which is an open source standard compliant SQL databases. It's easily configurable on most cloud hosting providers. You also have SQLite, which is open source embedded. It's simplistic. You don't need to do fancy operations there, and I think everyone uses it. MySQL is very popular. At least it was very popular. I think now it's more like Postgres. And lastly, it's MongoDB. It's a NoSQL database designed for programmers. So every driver is supported by cloud, and you can host your database outside of your local machine. The change to swap between these drivers is very minimal. You'd have just to import the right driver and add it to your SPM as a dependency. It's very simple. In the end, the high-level approach, your application that calls those drivers, very simple to do. You just change the name from Mongo to SQLite, and that's it. Cool. Now it's time for a demo. All right, so I'm here in the projects directory. And if you remember from the first video we did with setting up the Vapor project, we were asked a few questions. To create a new project, you remember we have Vapor new, and here I would say my server, and it will clone the template from Vapor. And here it asks me if I would like to use Fluent. I can say yes, Postgres, MySQL, SQLite to use for my Fluent database. I will say 3, SQLite, template, leave no, and then the project has been created. I can change directory to it. And to open the project, I have there open package.fit. This is a new stuff that has been added by the Vapor team to the Vapor toolbox and plays quite nice. The Vapor project has been opened, and if I go here to the package.swift, I can see more dependencies than the non-Fluent way of creating a project. I have here the dependencies, these 2 dependencies. I have the Fluent.git and the SQLite driver here. If I'm going to that repository, I can see on GitHub the package that has been added to my project. And here I'm having the code source, which is open source. This is the driver, so I'm using SQLite. And of course, you can also open it and check the repository, or you can open it in Xcode. And you have here a list of drivers. It's not the only one. If you remember, we had different questions there. You can search inside the repository for a driver. And here you can see some drivers. MySQL, Postgres, Mongo. And this is how you would create a Vapor application and with the Fluent database. If I'm going to open an existing application, I have here the Vapor series server, my Vapor driver. I can go here to the package.swift and add the Fluent dependency. I can copy it from the documentation, or I can take it from here. And I would like to use the same SQLite approach. I can put here package and put here package, and I have here 2 new packages, Fluent, Git, SQLite. Here you'd modify if you want Postgres, or MySQL. You just modify here the URL of the package, and it will download the right one for you. Don't forget to also add the dependencies inside the targets, and we're basically Fluent and Fluent SQL. And you see here, it downloaded the Fluent packages, and now my project is connected with this driver. I can build and run the project now, and everything should work well. Okay, server started. Now to use this Fluent database, we need to do some configuration. I'm opening the configure. If I'm importing the Fluent, I can say app.database. And here I need to pass a configuration. We can say, I think I also have the .SQLite configuration. I can create a file, a physical file, or I can put it in memory. The results, I will choose memory, and as what, as SQLite, or I can provide a different identifier here. And this will create an ephemeral configuration of my database and use the configuration like you have here. Let's place it before the routes. Let's delete this. And I'll place it here using routes. And routes, if you remember, there's the function that configures the application routes. This is if you open the function, you'll see that it uses a configuration factory, which is a structure with a lock database is here. And here it creates a lock and creates the database with the ID and configures the connection pool. Okay, but in the end, this is how you would initialize your database. All right, and that's it for the moment. The application will still run. We'll have to create some entities, some models that are going to be stored in the database. But I will do that next time. Thank you for watching.